Scrappy friends! I have a fun layout for you that I'm going to be using that mood board that I showed at the beginning. Today there's a crap going on over at the pink camera, and I am helping Lisa out, and I'm going to be using this as part of her crop. She's going to have a whole bunch of challenges and prizes and fun stuff, and who doesn't like scrapping and challenges? I know I do. So I am going to be using some watercolor on a background just to make some stripes, and I'm using this blue. You've seen me, I just tested out some of the blues that I had because I wasn't sure exactly what color I wanted to use. And I'm kind of trying to match the mood board. I mean, colors are hard to match precisely just because there's, especially this color of blue, there's a ton of color. And this is a little bit more sky blue as opposed to on that board. It's a little bit more aqua, I think. But in the end, I really like the way that this works. And the embellishments that I use match the colors that I'm using. So, and that's the fun thing about mood boards is you don't have to go exact with the color. If there's a color that you have that reminds you of that color, sometimes that is a good starting point. And as you can see, I just kind of made those lines a little wonky, not on purpose, but that's okay. I think that's the thing that I like about doing this myself is that it isn't going to be perfect. Every single time will be different, and that's what is going to make my layouts unique. And I really just like a good stripe, and the watercolor is just a nice light color to go. And then I thought, hey, maybe I could use some of this yellow that I have and make some hearts. Of course, I really probably needed a little bit of a thinner but stiffer brush to do hearts, but that's okay. And in the end, you're going to see that I actually do another set of them up above this set because I realized as I got going that I would probably put something there. At this point, I don't know that that's going to happen. And then I thought, oh, well, maybe I'll outline it with like this gray, black color, and I didn't like it. So I was thinking I'd just cover that up. Now, also on that inspiration piece, there's a whole bunch of words, and I am going to use some yellow acrylic paint, and this is just Jelly Bean Soup acrylic paint, but really, I like to use just the plain old cheap, like Walmart or the craft store paint that you can get for acrylic paint for a lot of what I do on my layouts just because it's cheap. I mean, and I don't have to worry about wasting a little bit of it, and I don't feel bad at all. So I am writing out the word happy because that is one of the words that is really dominant on that piece on the mood board, and I really like that sentiment, and I'm filling these jars with like little dots of yellow. Thought it would be fun. And eventually I'll use that for, okay, so I didn't show you me cutting this out because that is totally boring. And besides that, I have not perfected the technique of fussy cutting right in front of the camera. Besides that, it's boring anyway. But I fussy cut it around the outside of some of those flowers, and I figure that I'm going to put that there. And I'm going to watercolor in some of the flowers. I do not do all of them just because I do like that the white, the contrast between the white. And in the mood board there is a ton of white, and I don't leave obviously as much white as what shows, but that's just because sometimes I have a little bit of a problem leaving so much white space because I like color and I like stuff. So I'm going to be doing this like pink color, which is a little bit more, I almost want to say purpley maybe, than the color that is on the mood board. And I thought about actually whipping out my paints and using more of a pink, like a bubblegum pink, which is what I think the color is on the mood board. But I really like the look of that, the translucency of a watercolor as opposed to using acrylic paint. It would have just covered up all the lines unless I added a ton of water to it, which is something I could have done, and I guess I didn't think about that when I was doing this. But I really don't like to water down my acrylic paints that much, just because you never really know exactly what you're going to get when you water them down that much. I mean, I could have used maybe a little stamping ink too. That probably would have worked well. So here is the pinks that I did, and now I'm going to go back, and I decided to add a couple of blue colored flowers, and I'm going to use this really, really bright blue, which ends up being a little bit darker once it dries, but it looks really bright right now. And then I'm going to use that lighter blue that's in my palette. So it's a nice light blue and this brighter blue, because there is two blues on the board, if I remember correctly. So, and then I'm going to fill in the inside of the flowers with a yellow, just so that those colors really pop. And they're going to match really nice with my pictures, because I am scrapping some pictures of some flowers. So you can see them up there. One set is flowers from my yard, and then another set was flowers that I had seen while I was out. And they're really pretty. They have that same color pink that is the watercolor. So here I'm trying to decide if I want to use the gray or the pink, because the gray would have worked. It would have matched with all the gray lines from the flowers, because the flowers were really done in like a gray color. But then I decided that I wanted to use the pink, because it really makes it feel a lot more happy, and much more, it makes the white seem whiter to me. I don't know. I just thought that it made it look a little bit more gloomy. And I mean, this is a layout about flowers, so it doesn't need to be like, I wanted the outside to be happy. I wanted that to reflect that. So I'm using this hot pink. And of course, that cardstock was a cheaper cardstock, so it ripped when I tried to get the edge off, because it was from a pad, which I was kind of irritated about, but what you going to do about that? No one is going to notice when it's in my album anyway. And when I'm putting this tape on, I am leaving a little bit of room up near the top of the flowers, because I figure I will probably tuck in my photos a little bit. So I'm just cutting off where it snagged on the... And I'm going to use these vellum hearts. And these were from last month, this month, September's Click Kits, from the Hello Lovely collection from Cocoa Vanilla. I really liked that light blue, because there was a lot of light blue in that collection. So I really like the way that everything looks like that. So I think I'm going to stick with that at this point. I don't really play around with too much. And then I figure I'll add a couple of layers of papers. And so I pull out the new collection from Dear Lizzie, because it has some of those pinks and some yellows. And even though that yellow heart is a little bit more distressed, I decide that I think that it'll be okay as a layer, that you probably aren't going to notice too much. I mean, it is a little bit... Some people probably wouldn't be able to do it, because it is noticeable that it is a darker color. But to me, it doesn't bother me, because the background behind that photo is a little dingy because of the brick being the red dirt color. That's the thing about Hawaii. Everything is tinged red from the dirt. So you almost can't get away with that with a lot of different things. And a lot of places don't paint very often. So seeing those, bright white colors on buildings or anything doesn't happen very often. And those plumerias are from my yard, so there wasn't too much in the background of those. And I'm just layering them. And I really didn't want to add too many papers to the background, because there is a lot going on with that flower paper. And, I mean, I say that, and sometimes that doesn't bother me, but I really thought that with the flowers and everything, I just wanted it to be simple. So now I'm trying to think about what else I might want to do, and I'm thinking, oh, maybe I'll add a stamp because, I don't stamp enough, and I have the set that came in my Pink Fresh Studio kit, and it says Happy Moments, so I'm going to put it right underneath the Happy. And I did test it out first because that was the first time that I used that stamp. I wanted to make sure it was going to come out clean, and those stamps usually do. So I decided not to test this one out, and of course I did smudge it a little. I think I pressed down a little too hard. That says snapshot. I thought that would be cute right on the photo. I mean, it didn't really need to be there, but I did it for fun. Sometimes I just do that. And I'm just going to add some word stickers and various colors. I'm figuring out what I want to use. I wasn't sure if I was going to use any more of that blue, but I realized when I pulled out that sticker sheet that the blue was a little bit more gray and not as vibrant as the blues that I use, so I decided against using much of that. And then I was thinking I was going to use those for my title, which I do, and I come back to it because at first I'm not sure exactly what I want to put for the title, and so I look at these stickers, and they're in gray, and I thought the gray would look really nice because of the flowers having the gray. So I'm just trying to see if I have anything else in colors that I think will look good. And I've thought about using some of those black ones, but they're just so black. So I pick out these Maggie Holmes ones. And because they're a little distressed, I think it kind of helps pull in with the Dear Lizzie distressed paper. I say distressed. It's not like really distressed. It's more vintage inspired. And so now I'm going back going, what do I want to use for the title? I really at first had no idea. And then I seen the remember, and it got me thinking about things that I love about Hawaii and why I'm actually scrapping these pictures. And really, I'm just scrapping them because I want to remember how beautiful it is here. When we leave here, the flowers that are here in Hawaii won't follow me to the mainland. And I really want to remember the beauty of it. I mean, living here, you kind of start taking for granted the fact that everything is just so gorgeous and beautiful and smells amazing. And it is easy to forget just how beautiful it is, just because it becomes your everyday life. And I really don't want to forget that. I really want to remember how much I love it here, how much I love all the flowers and the beauty that is here, and be remembered that, this is a magical place. So that's pretty much what I put in my journaling. And I use the Pink Fresh Studio hearts and stuff. I just think that the wood kind of brings in that element of something grown, even though there's no wood on the flowers. And then I'm just finishing off with some Heidi Shine, some Heidi Swap. And I also added a little bit of pink, but you can't see it too much. So here are the close-ups, and I hope you guys go and check out Lisa's crop over at the Pink Camera Facebook group. I'll have links below. There's going to be tons of fun all day long. So I will see you guys later, and have a great weekend. Bye!